Chef's Kiss, another episode. It's Pete and John after divisional playoffs. It was a good weekend for football. John's Packers fell a little bit short. We're going to talk about that. John's Packers played better football than the 49ers for 58 minutes, and I think John's got some words on that. But besides that, John, how's everything else going? It's 7 o'clock on Monday night.
It's good, man. It's good. As you can tell, I'm not wearing my Packer hat because it's not a Victory Monday. We'll get into that, but yeah, man, it's good. Family's all here. Pretty decent day of work. Nice little Saturday that we had over the weekend. Classic dad stuff. You got a nice little hit tonight on Fox. Philly channel, so that's gonna be really exciting.
Yes.
And we're gonna be doing some spring training stuff in March in Florida, live in person together for the first time.
Right, we're gonna have a place that we're staying, very high-end luxury hotel. We're gonna do some live content from there. Hopefully tonight goes very well. Fox wants to contract me out so we can do some coverage down there. Who knows where it could lead? So a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm hoping that this season really has a lot in store for us, for the brand, successful endeavors all around, right?
Agreed. Absolutely. Well, I know you're a busy man. I know you got a hit tonight. Let's get into it. NFL Divisional Weekend recap. Let's start Saturday. Ravens win over the Texans 34-10. This game was not that close. Lamar just completely took over. He had 11 carries for... Yeah, after halftime. Lamar, 11 carries, over 100 yards rushing. I think he had 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns throwing. Ravens' defense dominated. Their defense looks so legit. Stroud, not great, only 175 passing yards. But this is probably the worst game. Every game was great this weekend. This is probably the worst game, but still exciting to watch 2 dynamic quarterbacks. But Ravens, clearly the better team. You can tell experience really helped them in this game. Yeah, that was my take. What about you?
Yeah, it was close at half, right? 10-10 at half.
Yep.
And then second half adjustments. That goes to the coaching. We've talked about that
Harbaugh.
before.
Yep.
Yes, second half adjustments, and that really showed.
Do you know that? By the way, do you know the story about Jim Harbaugh at Michigan? It's a really interesting story. Story about Jim Harbaugh. So he couldn't beat Ohio State, or he kept losing to Ohio State. Urban Meyer kept beating him. He was on the verge of getting fired, and he actually had to take a pay cut. So what he did was he went to his brother John, the head coach of the Ravens, and he goes, "Buddy, I can't beat this team. I cannot. I'm going to get fired if I don't beat Ohio State. I need a team that can defend RPO, defend dynamic wide receivers, defend a quarterback that can throw and run. How do you – I need help. I need help. I'm going to lose my job." And he gave him 2 coordinators from the Ravens that came over and helped. And not only did they help, they developed a scheme and a defense to be able to defend that. And not only that, help them identify, here are the players that we need. Here are the players that you need to recruit. And we need to come to Michigan to be able to beat teams like Alabama, Ohio State. So I thought that was really cool. A brother helping out his other brother. Is Jim the oldest? Is Jim older than John?
He looks older, I would assume. Yeah.
That's awesome. Your little brother helping you out. I thought that was such a cool thing. Hey, man, I can't beat Ohio State. Can you help me? That's awesome.
Great football family.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
The future is bright for the Texans, though. You got to be happy if you're a Texans fan.
Absolutely, dude. And Nick Casario, who runs that team, the GM, the front office, he worked under Belichick for years in New England. He knows a lot. He's really, really knowledgeable. So that team's going to be really good. And Stroud looks like he's going to be a stud for a while.
I mentioned he also didn't have one of his best wide receivers. So let's take that with a grain of salt, too.
Absolutely.
didn't have a full deck of cards. He
True.
played very well all season. So
and they ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, the Ravens are legit. They're the number 1 seed, and they're the number 1 seed for a reason. Lamar is a stud, and their defense is for real. So, moving on. Packers lose again to the 49ers in the playoffs. Again, 24-21. So, you and I were FaceTiming during this game. Yeah, and, well, it was fun for a while, and then at the end, I just did not have a good feeling. I've never liked our defense. I've never liked Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator for the Packers. He just never can get a stop when we need it. And then after we lost,
I've had a good feeling.
So we talked about this, and you were like, John, have perspective. You weren't even supposed to be here. Your team was supposed to suck this year. No one thought Jordan Love was going to be good. And you made the playoffs. You beat your division rival twice. You dominated an elite defense in the Cowboys on the road. You have the youngest playoff team since like 1970 to make the playoffs. And you almost beat arguably the best team in the NFL on the road in terrible wet conditions. Like, what are you complaining about? And a proven quarterback, and it looks like we went 3 for 3. Looks like Jordan Love is the real deal. So that is so exciting, and I do have gratitude for it. And I was so angry after that loss, and it doesn't even compare to the 2014 debacle and the NFC Championship loss against Seattle, or the couple times we were in the number 1 seed and got bounced by San Francisco. That when we lost 13-10 in Lambeau, in the snow, when they didn't even score an offensive touchdown. They got a blocked punt and Garoppolo could barely throw. That was a really, really bad loss. But I thought about it, and I was like, Pete does have a good point. Why am I so upset? And I think the reason was I picked San Francisco on our last pod. I said San Francisco is just more talented everywhere and more experienced. So I'm going with the 49ers. However, on that Saturday night, the Packers were the better team. Purdy sucked. Purdy was not good at all. They lost Deebo Samuel in the first quarter. Love was playing really well. Aaron Jones was unstoppable. He was running against a defense I didn't think you could do that, and he was running all over them. He was doing just what he was doing against the Cowboys.
A healthy defense too. No excuse.
A healthy defense too. He was unbelievable. He was absolutely incredible. It's probably the best I've ever seen him. And I think those weeks that LaFleur had him sit out, I mean, he didn't really start playing until like week 10 or 11, which is right when Love went on that heater. And I think that's what was really upsetting about it. And I've gained some perspective now a few days after the loss, and I am excited about next year. I'm thrilled that there's going to be massive expectations with Love, like taking this team to the Super Bowl. Now LaFleur is on the hot seat. He's found his quarterback, his play call, like he's a great play caller. LaFleur needs to deliver in the playoffs, and more specifically, he needs to beat Kyle Shanahan. But I think the reason I was so upset is because we were the better team that day. We should have won that game. I get everything else, but that day, that night, we were the better team, and we couldn't get a stop on that final drive. Like we just couldn't do it. And Love made a bad throw, but it's his first playoff game. He's young.
Makes those throws. That's the thing is like that wasn't like an errant throw where it's like no, because you've seen him throw off of his back foot, throw on an uneven playing.
That was inexperience. He panicked. That was inexperience, and he panicked. Yeah, that he made one bad throw. The one to Kraft, that was just laissez-faire. Like he wasn't really focused. So that didn't really bother me, but that one at the end. That's a poor decision. That's like Favre stuff that we don't want to get that stuff the hell out of there. But yeah. I think I'm not worried about it because I think that will stick with him and he will learn from that. And I think him and LaFleur are such a great match. He listens to LaFleur. He's finally running his offense. I told you this before. Mark Murphy in June had a meeting with the actual shareholders of the Green Bay Packers, not people that just owned a piece of paper saying that you own that I'm part of the Packers. And he said two things to them. He goes, we're finally going to get to see Matt LaFleur's true offense, which is a dig at Rodgers because Rodgers would always audible out of plays that he didn't like and audible into plays that he did like. Like, he did it all the time, and it would drive LaFleur crazy. But LaFleur just kept it on the DL because he's like, we have enough drama here. I don't want any more. And then the second thing he told the shareholders in June of 2023 was, wait until midseason. Give Jordan Love half the season to assess his performance. Let's just give him half a season. And he was totally right on both counts. I couldn't be, I'm gutted by the loss, but I can't be more pleased about the future of Green Bay. Our wide receivers are awesome. We have 2 stud tight ends. We have great running backs. Our defensive players are good. Quay Walker, a lot of first-round picks are all on the defensive side of the ball. I really hope they fire Joe Barry because the scheme clearly does not work. And our kicker, I don't know. He's a rookie, so hopefully he'll do better next year. But Purdy was awful that game. A couple things. Love was good. Had 2 turnovers, but very, very happy about the future of the Packers.
Yeah, like we were saying, we were talking and FaceTiming and stuff, and it never is easy when you are that close. But
and you were right. You said give it a couple days, and you were totally right because it was Saturday and today's Monday, and I'm not angry anymore. That was about 12 hours where I was really pissed, really angry. Mm-hmm. I just turned the TV. Love threw that interception. I didn't watch any post-game stuff. I just turned the TV off and went to bed and put some really nice nighttime lip gloss on when I FaceTime you. Yeah.
Yes.
That was nice.
Very metro.
John,
what
are your thoughts?
What?
Do you have any thoughts about the game, or you want to move on to the Lions?
Yeah, I was let you talk on that. That was pretty much exactly how I felt. I felt the Packers were the better team for 58 minutes in that game, and it just wasn't enough. I really wanted to see them. I never really want to root for the Packers, but it would have been nice. It was exciting. I think underdog, had to have won at some point, but they didn't. The favorites won the entire. The Chiefs were an underdog in that game. But, yeah, another NFC North team, though, the Lions. Lions have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl here against the Bucs. It was a lot closer than it should have been, John. I want to talk to you about the game, but I also want to talk about the end of the game. So I have a problem with Todd Bowles. And the problem is nobody really noticed it on the field. I didn't notice it until after the game. But the Buccaneers had a timeout left. They ended the game with a timeout. There was a 3rd down, and they were if they were to call a timeout, it would be a 4th down. They would have had to have kicked a field goal. The field goal was 49 yards, okay? 50-yard field goal. It's not a chip shot. You can block it. Bad snap. You miss it. You get it at midfield, and there's time on the clock. If you have 1% chance to win, to beat that team, as the head coach, you owe that to the players, to the staff, to everybody who's put in sleepless nights and all season long, 18, 19, 20 weeks. You owe it to them to do everything you can to win. And when he said, we didn't want to delay the inevitable, they could have kicked the field goal. It's a 49-yard field goal. That's an excuse. If I was a Bucs, what are you doing on that last play? I didn't understand that at all. And I thought that was terrible coaching.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've never thought Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a decent head coach. I think he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I think that's probably where he's best suited. His defenses are for real. I don't know how much he's really helping Mayfield, but I completely agree. That was a huge misstep. That was a really close game. Lions won 31-23. Goff was awesome. like 2 touchdowns, no picks. That throw to St. Brown in the corner was on the money. I mean, that's an elite throw. That's a number 1 pick. Like, again, if he doesn't have to move his feet, if he can set and step, he can make those throws. I mean, that throw had to be right there on the money, and he was awesome. Mayfield was solid. Again, he had 2 picks. Not great, and I'm going to bring it back. You talked about Jahmyr Gibbs before the playoffs even started, and he was the X factor. I mean, just 9 carries, 74 yards, but that big touchdown, I mean, that was huge. That dude has elite speed. He can catch, and if that guy gets in the open field, dude, you're not catching him, or if you do, he's going to break at least 1 tackle. I mean, he is a game changer. Ben Johnson is a absolute brilliant play caller. I mean, that fake end around to the tight end, like, that's just a brilliant play caller. I actually, as a Packer fan, really am not worried about the Lions because they're going to lose Ben Johnson, and then I really do feel like that team is going to become an average team because I like Dan Campbell, but I don't think he's like a brilliant head coach. I think he's a guy that people run through a wall for, and I think people love him and play hard for him, and there's something to be said about that. But take away Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator for the Lions, I think they are a 500 team. I think that's how good Ben Johnson is, and I think that's how good of a play caller he is and the positive effect he has had on Jared Goff.
Exhibit A, Eagles, John. Last year to this season, take away their offensive coordinator, take away their defensive coordinator.
It's huge.
Completely different.
And I feel the same way. I mean, Jordan Love is really good, and he has, some innate ability, arm strength, being able to throw off his back foot, run. But you take away Matt LaFleur, dude, Love is not even remotely as good as he was this year without Matt LaFleur and his tutelage and his patience and the play calling. Like, Matt LaFleur is a huge reason why Jordan Love is good, and those two need to be together for a long time. So you're right.
I think that's why
didn't the Eagles just fire? Go ahead.
Yeah, Sean Desai. I think that's why the Lions have a shot at beating the 49ers because they can go toe-to-toe with them on offense for sure. They can put up a lot of points, and if you're going to play the 49ers, you got to at least put up 24, 27, whatever it is, and they can do that. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to go. I think the Lions can beat the 49ers. Debo's 50-50 to play, so we'll see about that. But, John, the best game of the weekend obviously was last night.
Yeah, Chiefs beat Buffalo on the road 27-24. No one said Mahomes. I picked the Bills. I just thought Allen was going to be awesome and was not going to let his team lose. Allen was awesome, and his team lost. Mahomes is so hard to beat. He's just so
you can't drop
hard
passes.
To beat.
You have to take every opportunity.
And the other thing, too, Marcus Valdez-Scantling used to be on the Packers. He used to drop passes all the time, but he made a couple huge catches in that game, and he started to have that Kelsey connection that started to come back. And that is Diggs. Yep, absolutely.
Big miscatch in the fourth quarter.
Big miscatch. And then
yard throw on the
people are going to talk about the missed field goal, like the Bass wide right thing, and I obviously know Scott Norwood in the history of the Bills thing. Yes, of course. But you could say that about Andres Carlson for the Packers, a missed field goal. Kickers miss big-time field goals in the playoffs all the time. What I thought was interesting was, okay, Mahomes found the Kelsey connection again. That wasn't surprising. What was surprising, and I feel like no one's talking about it, was Isaiah Pacheco. 15 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Dude, that was I thought that was the difference in the game. Obviously, Mahomes is good. You know Kelsey's good. But you don't expect against Buffalo at home and that defense, Isaiah Pacheco to be running the ball, and credit to Andy Reid to stick with it and pound the rock. Like, well done. They deserve that win.
Complimentary. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a couple runs.
He had a good game too,
as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So people are going to talk about the missed field goal. They didn't lose the game because of that missed field goal. They lost the game because the Chiefs controlled the majority of that game. They controlled the ball, and they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the run game. You know, Mahomes is gonna put up some points with Kelsey and stuff. You know that. So, but you can't allow them yards on the ground, and that's where I really thought they fell short. But Chiefs, for the 6th year in a row, are going back to the AFC Championship, which is crazy.
We were robbed, though, John. You know that, right? We were robbed of a fantastic ending. That was a very anticlimactic ending. The missed field goal, and then the Chiefs take over. They run the ball a couple times. That's it. We could have saw the Bills score with a minute left, and Patrick Mahomes gets the ball with a minute and has to go down the field. That would have been cinema, right? Like just pure drama.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the same thing happened in the Packer game. I thought Love was going to drive down the field after we missed the field goal. I thought Love was going to drive down the field and score. He had a minute left with a timeout, too, but he just, inexperienced. He threw an ill-advised throw, and it got picked. That was it.
John, what are your thoughts on the touchback? We saw the touchback, right? We saw that the Chiefs are on the 2.
I hate that rule.
Why?
I hate that rule. I think it's stupid. Like you're penalizing someone for trying to score. Belichick is famously tells every Patriots player never reach for the pylon. Like never reach, which I've seen several Patriot players do that, so obviously they're not listening. I hate that rule because you're penalizing someone for trying for trying to score, for exerting as much effort as they possibly can to score, and then you're going to penalize them because they got the ball knocked out and it went through the back of the end zone. I think it's a absolute terrible rule.
How else are you going to penalize a team for fumbling going out of the end zone? Where do you get the ball then? Where does it go? Back to the 20?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. All I can say is that rule I don't like. In baseball, in extra innings, a hitter, a base runner starts on second base. I hate that rule. I get it. I understand it. I don't like it. I think it sucks. I think you're affecting the strategy of the game. It's not fair to that relief pitcher, and it's also not fair to the guy who's trying to break tackles to get to the goal line and then gets the ball knocked out. It should just be the ball is out right there, and you get it at the goal line.
So you can just jump in and the ball, you just get it on the goal line.
Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's fair? A team drives down the field, they get right to the goal line, the guy's reaching for it, he's trying, and then the ball gets knocked out through the end zone, and then not only do they not score, they lose the ball, and then the other team gets the ball with relatively good field position because you have to punt it instead of do a kickoff. That is so not justified. Like, just because a player is trying really hard to score. I think it's a bullshit rule. I think it's a bullshit rule, and they should change it.
If you were to fumble and the other team recovers, they get the ball. It's not really
just like in overtime where the first team, like if you get the ball and you score a touchdown, the game's over. That's bullshit. You got to give the other team a chance to try to score. Like, I don't like that rule either.
Me neither.
But before we move on, my wife sent me something, and I think it's interesting. And you may disagree because I think you've talked about this before. So she's on, what is this, Instagram. So she loves Taylor Swift. Who doesn't? I like Taylor Swift. And she sent me this, I know you don't, but she sent me this screenshot. Like, a lot of people, a lot of men in particular are pissed off about Taylor Swift and her involvement in the NFL. The NFL absolutely loves it. They're gaining so many fans. They literally made their Twitter cover photo Taylor Swift. So they're leaning into it, which is brilliant from a marketing perspective. And this dad, she sent me this screenshot, and she was reading this to me, and I go, send me that screenshot I want to talk about on the pod. And this guy said, older men gatekeeping their sport is a big part of what killed baseball. The NFL would be better off in the long run if they lost their boycotters and gained a whole new generation of fans. Glad you can enjoy football and bond with your daughter. So this daughter who had absolutely no interest in football knows that Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, so she watched the Dolphins-Chiefs game, and then she wanted to watch a game with her dad, and now she's really into football, she's Chiefs, and now she's going to watch the AFC Championship game. So you're bringing more fans to the game, and I think that's great, and I think something that baseball could really learn from. You know what I mean? Like it's great. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? And they've mitigated some of the Taylor Swift cutaways only when like Kelce scores.
So it's not when just Kelce scores. It's every single catch. It's anything Patrick Mahomes does.
But they didn't do that last night
with Brittany. Yes, they did, John. It might not be as egregious.
His the first touchdown when he did the heart, they cut to her. But his second touchdown, that to the left, I didn't see her. I didn't see a cutaway to her.
They cut away commercial breaks. John, I don't care who watches football at all. Why? It has no effect on who watches it.
But certain people are irate about Taylor Swift. It's silly.
Like Taylor Swift. I don't like her. I'm not her target demo. I'm a 35-year-old man.
But so what? What about all these dads that are able to bond with their daughters because of Taylor Swift? There's so many Taylor Swift fans. There's more Taylor Swift fans. Like there's so many Taylor Swift fans. Like that's a great thing. Like his daughter is bonding with him. Like he watches football all the time. Now he gets to watch it with his daughter. That's a great thing.
Right. Yeah. I made a video on it, John, and I use a metaphor.
Go ahead.
You go to your favorite bar. You go to your favorite bar every Sunday, and there's all these beers on tap, and it's great, and everybody's there. It's got good company. Everyone gets along. And then one day the bar installs a jungle gym, and then you got kids running around, and it's loud, and you're just like, shut up. I'm trying to watch the game, and but they're like, hey, it brings in more business. It's good for the bar. And you're like, I don't know. Like, I was fine before. I don't need all this. That's how I feel the whole Taylor Swift stuff is. Like, it's date whoever you want. I don't care who watches football, but I don't need to see it all the time. It's just like any other agenda that the mass media wants to push down your throat. You're like, okay, are we done with this? Like, are we done? And not only that, then I got to see Travis Kelce. Mahomes, I see him on a commercial for State Farm. Then I got to see his Pfizer commercial.
He's in a lot of commercials. That dude is in a lot of commercials.
Come on, man. And then he does the little heart thing, and I'm just like, I can't say it, but it's just too much for me. It's too much, John. Everything in moderation. That's fine if it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's just too much. I don't care. It fuels a hate. It fuels a hate for the Kelce's and Taylor Swift. I think that's why men, dads, whatever, don't enjoy seeing her, because it's like, get off of my TV. Nobody cares.
Dude,
who
cares? Who cares, man? It should not bother you that much. So what? It's a cutaway for 2 seconds. It's not affecting the game or my enjoyment of the game.
We don't need to talk about Taylor Swift and then see Kelce. Dude, the whole Kelce, I mean, count how many times you saw Travis Kelce during the game, and then
you saw Jason Kelce arguably more than you saw Travis.
You did. Yeah, he made a big scene. What do you think about that? My wife.
This is what I think.
It's a
Travis,
little bit look at me kind of thing,
yes, I agree. If he's drunk and just having a good time, that's cool. But if he's doing it to like gain notoriety, that's and that's an agenda. And I heard, rumor has it that Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to get engaged at the end of the season. Kelce's going to retire. I think if they win the Super Bowl, he definitely retires. But Peacock wants to do, or NBC specifically, wants to do what ESPN has done with the Manning cast, but they want to do it on Peacock to get more subscribers to Peacock, if they haven't already, from that playoff game, and do the Kelce brothers. And they're entertaining. They're fun. Like, they'll do great. So there might have been a little agenda in there, but again, I think it's good for the game. You're also the guy that hated the new baseball rules, and they were unbelievably successful. More people went to baseball games this year, and it reduced the time of games. So,
debatable.
All right, let's move on. We can agree to disagree. Other NFL news.
Get off
Antonio,
my lawn, John.
You are an old get off my lawn guy, and I'm older than you. So it should be me saying this. But I'm young at heart. Antonio Pierce officially becomes the Raiders head coach, dropped the interim title. Belichick possibly to the Falcons. I don't know why he would go there. It makes no sense. Jim Harbaugh has had his second interview with the Chargers, so it looks like that's probably going to happen. But here's where I'll let you have the floor here. Bears hired Dan Waldron as offensive coordinator, former Seattle offensive coordinator. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't know anything about this guy or why they hired him. Why? Because he helped Geno Smith become relevant again? I don't get it. What's your take on this? I don't know anything about this guy.
Neither do I. I have no idea. I'm not going to pretend that I do.
All right. Let's move on to conference championship predictions.
There was breaking news, John, 1 minute ago. Titans did hire the Bengals OC, or hiring the Bengals OC Brian Callahan, finalizing a deal to become Tennessee's new head coach. So Brian Callahan will be the Titans' new head coach.
Nice.
Breaking news.
Okay, cool.
Here first on the pod.
That's what we're here for.
Also, Aroldis Chapman signed a one-year.
Aroldis Chapman to the Pirates. Ugh. Good God.
Dude's ring chasing. Am I right?
Yeah, for real, dude. For real. Conference championship predictions. John, we'll start with the AFC.
I might be going to the AFC Championship game.
What? Can you get me a ticket?
I talked to work today, and I was like, hey, I'm 2 hours from Baltimore. Like, if you guys want content,
I'll fly to Baltimore.
I'm driving there. It's only 2 hours.
Yeah, but I'll fly from Chicago to Baltimore to go. Just to hang out with Stavros or Ronnie from Baltimore. Dude, Stavi? Dude, oh, my God. Dude, he goes Flacco. He goes, you have so much to teach Lamar. Dude, I literally, like, my wife she'll like come over. I'll be like crying on the couch. She's like, what are you doing? She goes, are you watching that Ravens guy again? I'm like, dude, it's so funny. It's like kills me.
Videos are so good.
It's the best. I've been watching it for the last couple of years. It's been the best. All right, AFC Championship, Chiefs at Ravens. Ravens number 1, Chiefs I think 3. Baltimore's favored by 3.5. The Ravens defense is incredible. Okay, Lamar is unbelievable. But again, Mahomes, and if he's found that Kelsey connection again, it could be a problem. And again, if Pacheco can run the ball like they did against Buffalo, yeah. I'm not picking against Mahomes in this game. You know, it's like until Matt LaFleur can prove he can beat Kyle Shanahan, I'm taking the Niners. Similar thing here. If until Lamar or Josh Allen can prove that they can beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game, I'm not picking against the Chiefs.
Kelsey. Right.
I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm not going against Mahomes.
I want the Ravens to win.
I want the Ravens to win too. I'm sick of the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm not picking against Mahomes. I watched that game against Buffalo. I'm just he's so hard to defend, man. He's so hard to get off the field.
Lamar, I don't know if he is up to snub with Mahomes, the Chiefs.
He's not, dude.
When it comes
he's not.
So that's the thing. That defense is great, but Chiefs defense is very good too, especially their secondary. I don't have as much trust in Lamar as I do in Patrick Mahomes.
I agree. That's really the deciding factor for me. And until he proves me wrong, I'm going with Mahomes. Yeah. All right, NFC, last one. Lions at 49ers. San Francisco favored 6.5. Goff is bad outside, okay? So the weather better be perfect. If it's raining like it was against the Packer game, he's screwed, okay? He is terrible outside. So they better hope it's in good condition. And it's going to be at night or later in the evening. I actually think if the Niners stop the run, Goff is only good because of the run because it's predicated on play action passes and quick timing passes. But if the Niners stop the run, if they can stop Montgomery, if they can stop Gibbs, not only do I think the Niners win, I think this could be – I don't think this could be close. I think the Niners could win by multiple touchdowns. Because I think Purdy is going to – like, they did not play well against the Packers, and they still won. I do not expect them to play that type of game again. And I expect the conditions to be better.
I'm taking the Lions in this game.
Are you kidding me?
Eminem comes
explain.
Mathers talks to the team. Marshall Mathers comes out, talks to the team, Detroit style. Again, an X factor, Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think you're giving.
That's enough
Jared
to beat
Goff
the Niners.
I don't think you're giving Jared Goff enough credit. You just saw.
I've seen Goff outside. Who's a
stronger team, the Packers or the Lions right now? If they were go head to head.
The Packers beat the Lions on Thanksgiving in Detroit.
Right now, in January, who's going to win that game?
Packers versus Lions. Where is it? Is it in Lambeau or is it in Detroit?
Inside in Detroit.
If the Packers could beat them, they almost beat the Niners.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is the Lions have a shot, and I said that because they can put up points. Their offense, very good.
Dude, Bosa and Young are going to get to Goff. Goff can't move, man. They're not going to have to blitz. And if they can't, if Detroit cannot run the ball, they're done. I think this one might not even be close if they can't run the ball.
Yeah, I'm still taking.
I think the Niners, after that performance against Green Bay, I think they're gonna smoke them. And as a Packer fan,
any value in that?
Yeah, if he plays, I think it helps, obviously. But and by the way, I just want to go on the record here. I'm rooting for the Lions. I like Goff. I like this Lions team. This is coming from a Packer fan and I shouldn't be saying that. We're in the same division, but they've been horrible my entire life. Argue worse than the Bears, if you can believe that. And the Bears are terrible. No offense. But I really, really want the Lions to win this game. Plus, I fucking hate the Niners. Like, I'm so sick of them. I want them to lose so bad. So I'm rooting for the Lions, but I'm picking the Niners.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Lions and picking the Lions. Got to, John. How much do you put into the Super Bowl logo, and having things fixed or rigged? You know the Super Bowl logo conspiracy theory, the colors of the logo. Really?
I'm looking up this year's logo or every logo.
The last 3 years, the colors have coordinated with the teams that were in the Super Bowl. This year's are red and purple, which would indicate the Ravens and the 49ers.
Ooh.
That's
interesting.
Red and green, Chiefs, Eagles.
Uh-huh.
So it's gone for the last couple years. I didn't know if you put any stock into that. Because if it
I didn't even think about that.
Ravens, 49ers, that's questionable. I'll be honest. I don't think the NFL is rigged. I don't think it's scripted. I think that sounds stupid. But I do think it is manipulated to a certain point. I think the NFL is smart enough to know the Chiefs, if they're in the Super Bowl, ratings are going to be better than if the Ravens are in it. Baseball finds that out all the time this year with the World Series. Nobody watched the World Series this year. You have to have a good matchup, and the Chiefs are that powerhouse.
Yeah.
49ers will draw.
MLB wanted the Phillies so bad.
Yes. So I think the NFL knows that, especially with refs that can, manipulate a game more. I'm not saying it's rigged, but there are. How do you feel about that? Do you think the game is manipulated? Do you think it's rigged? Because I see it all the time on social media.
I do see it all. I do see it all the time when a team is pulling away, and then there's a very questionable call to be like, oh, I mean, I've said it out loud to my wife who's sitting next to me. I'm like, oh, they want to make a game out of this. I've said that a couple times this year, actually, now that you mention it, in several NFL games. Because at the end of the day, this is an entertainment product. They're competing for your attention. They don't want you to change the channel. They want you to watch as much of the game as you possibly can. So, yeah, I do. I do think in certain games where they need a certain rating or whatever, there's a call that won't really affect the outcome of the game, but will keep it close, which will keep the viewers tuned in to be like, all right, I'll stick around. Maybe let's see where this goes. You know what I mean? Sure. Because at the end of the day, it's ratings. It's an entertainment product. You are competing for people's attention. So
Amen, brother.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, right. Except our engagement is like through the roof. It's I can't like walk. I don't know about you, but I can't walk down the street anymore. I was at the grocery store this weekend. People are like, "Oh my God, what are you gonna talk about on the pod?" And I'm like, "Listen, we just lost like a Sunday morning. Like, give me a second, all right? I'm not really apt to talk to
John,
all these fans at Mariano's."
TV spots I had to turn down this week. This is the first one I accepted. I get asked
of course,
all the time.
Yeah, man. I mean, people, if you don't believe us, then check, come March, you'll see it. I mean, we got a ton of spring training stuff from St. Pete, Clearwater, Tampa. We're gonna be everywhere.
We got
premium content.
Drop top car. Gonna be driving around.
Yep, we're gonna get real cozy in a bed. That'll be nice.
Planes, trains, and automobiles, baby.
Yeah.
All right, John. I'm gonna prepare for my next spot.
Sounds good, buddy.
Hopefully, maybe I can be at that AFC game. Cross my fingers. That would be so fun.
Oh, my God. That would be such a fun recap pod. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next
All right,
time,
buddy.
Okay?
Talk to you later, man.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.